All right. Good evening and welcome to the West Orange Board of Education Public Board Meeting. Today is July 18th. I'm already thinking of jokes. I would like to thank everyone who's here in person for attending tonight, and for those watching from home, joining virtually tonight, thank you so much. Welcome to our board members and to Dr. Schoen and Ms. Flowers. Ms. Flowers, please take the roll call.
Good evening, everyone. Mrs. Huerta,
Here.
Mr. Rock,
Here.
Mr. Stevenson,
Here.
Vice President Rothstein,
Here.
President Tunnicliffe. Thank you. Notice of meeting. Please take notice that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the following manner. That a written notice was sent from the office of the Secretary of the Board at 4 p.m. on January 7th, 2022. That said notice was sent by regular mail to the West Orange Township Clerk and the editors of the West Orange Chronicle and the Star Ledger. That said notice was posted in the lobby of the Administration Building of the Board of Education. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, on to business. In consideration of the closed and public meeting of June 20th, June 22nd, and June 28th, do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. And second,
I'll
Second.
second.
I think we need a fight.
Ms.
Okay, Ms. Huerta, thank you. All right, any discussion? All right, seeing none, Ms. Flowers, please take the roll call.
Mrs. Huerta,
Yes.
Mr. Rock,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson,
Yes.
Vice President Rothstein.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Schoen, you have a presentation for us tonight.
I do. So good evening, everyone. Our Assistant Superintendent, Ms. Ebony Mendez, will be providing an overview this evening of the district's response to numerous curricular mandates. This presentation will be posted on our district website tomorrow. New Jersey universal mandates to be covered this evening include the Holocaust, genocide mandates, Amistad mandate, history of disabled and LGBT mandate, diversity, equity, and inclusion mandate, climate change mandate, Asian American and Pacific Islander mandate, as well as New Jersey health education standards that were revised for 2020 implementation in September of 2022. So with that said, if the board would be kind enough to move to the front seat, Mr. Mendez, the floor is yours.
Check, check.
Good evening. We'll get started shortly while Ms. Graftiza is setting up the presentation. Tonight, we are going to talk about those New Jersey curricular mandates that Dr. Schoen introduced and our response to them. So our district has been very efficiently and effectively busy in making sure that we are addressing all of the mandates in our curriculum. And just a little preface, as we worked through each of the mandates, our curriculum team did have an opportunity to conference in the director from each of the areas on a call where our whole team was present, just to get clarity on the mandates, to understand specifically what the expectations are. And so that we could make sure that we were addressing them appropriately.
If anything, it should show your, desktop. Oh, it worked before. We went through it. Could be. Should the board proceed with this meeting? No, I think it might have just been like when she turned it off and it made it wrong to go that way. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna shut off the projector, let that go off, so if you want to continue with your meeting and then we can come back.
Thank you. We'll figure it out.
Sometimes
There
when we
have been
have
some
power
power
outages,
things that are going on. We had it earlier, so
sometimes when we have power outages.
it's all good. It's all good. It's all about recovery. I do, however, to complete my report, Laura, I'm sorry to bother you, need a mic. All right, wonderful. So while we work out some of our technology issues, I do have three topics that I would like to bring up as part of my report. Since the last filed harassment, intimidation, and bullying report, there have been 4 HIB investigations. I have reviewed the summary of those investigations, and those reported, all 4 were non-confirmed. I concur with the findings of our anti-bullying specialist presented. On June 28th, the board held a special meeting to accept Liberty Principal Bob Klemp's retirement. During that meeting, Mr. Klemp was honored for his 33 years in district, serving as a teacher, school counselor, assistant principal, and principal. On behalf of the board, we wish Mr. Klemp much good health and much happiness in his retirement. This evening's agenda includes a resolution for the recommendation of Ms. Aretha Dooley Malloy to serve as the next Liberty Middle School principal. Ms. Dooley Malloy has served as both a middle school teacher and a principal with over 20 years of experience. Most recently, she has led 2 schools in one, a K-6 elementary school and 7-8 middle school with approximately 1,000 students and 130 staff members in the Dover Public Schools. Ms. Dooley Malloy holds a Master's of Educational Leadership from St. Peter's College. She has also served as adjunct professor at Montclair State University, instructing diversity, equity, and inclusion course and methods of teaching. We welcome Ms. Dooley Malloy to our district, with her recommendation being approved this evening. A second personnel recommendation on tonight's agenda is for our Director of Assessment, Accountability, and Intervention, Ms. Michelle Martino. Ms. Michelle Martino began her career in the West Orange Public Schools as an English teacher at the high school. She was elevated to various leadership roles, including the assistant principal at Liberty Middle School, a position that she held for 4 years. After serving as an elementary principal in the Northvale Public Schools, she returned back to West Orange as acting supervisor of grants, accountability, and testing in February of 2022. We look forward to working with Ms. Martino in her new role. That is all I have, Vice President Rothstein. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Schoen. Board reports. Do we have any board reports? Is mic on? There we go. All right. All right, so first off, just a little bit of an update on the superintendent search. It's moving along on schedule. The job posting has been open for a few weeks now. To date, Ray and Associates, the firm that's conducting the search or assisting the board on the search, reported that they have received, is it 31 now? 31 completed applications for the position. The deadline to apply is July 24th. So the board will be meeting with Ray and Associates early in August to review the applications and to select the candidates that would like to interview. Our goal is to schedule interviews for mid-August. More information will follow at the August 8th Board of Ed meeting. Let's see, a couple of other things that I just wanted to mention. One regarding policy, just acknowledging that I reached out to Dr. Schoen and to, I'm sorry. Terrific. Yeah, looking for new policies from Strauss-Esme that the board needs to consider. So, Mr. Stevenson, there's work coming our way on policy. Also wanted to mention something that one of the community members brought to my attention earlier today, that July, July is Disability Pride Month, commemorating the passage of the Americans with Disability Act 32 years ago, and celebrating the inclusion, equality, and equality of individuals with disabilities in our communities, whether those disabilities are physical, cognitive, developmental, psychological, or emotional. Please, everybody search Disability Pride Month for more information. Wanted to wish the best to all in our community with disabilities and special needs, and also to give a thank you to West Orange Special Education Parent Advisory Council and to all of our special services teachers and staff for the amazing work that you do on behalf of this community. All right, next we have questions from the public on agenda items. And any community member who would like to make comments is entitled to come up and ask questions at the podium. You state your name and your home address for the record and then begin your comments. Each person has a limit of 3 minutes. Do we have any members of the public in the audience tonight who wish to make a public comment? All right, seeing none, let's move on to our resolutions. And do we want to hold the presentation for the end then after we complete business? Absolutely. All right, great. So starting with on the agenda, let's see, what I'm looking for is a motion to approve the personnel section in items A1 through A7. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. In a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Rock. And do we have any discussion? Actually, before, oops, I'm so sorry, Ms. Aretha. Before moving on to any discussion, I just wanted to congratulate Diane Varela on her retirement and to say thank you for your 35 years of service to West Orange students and our school community. Best wishes to you on behalf of the Board of Education. And apologies, Ms. Huerta, any discussion?
No, that was all.
Okay.
Congratulations.
I stepped all over that for you then. Anything else?
Just a second of Dr. Schoen's acknowledgement of Ms. Dooley Malloy and Ms. Martino on their appointments to their respective positions, both in the administration for Ms. Martino and as principal of Liberty Middle School for Ms. Dooley Malloy. Congratulations to you.
All right. Seeing no further discussion, Ms. Flowers, would you please take the votes?
Sure, Mrs. Huerta,
Yes.
Mr. Rock,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson,
Yes.
Vice President Rothstein.
Yes,
Thank you.
and congratulations again. All right, moving on to the next section in our agenda. May I have a motion to approve the curriculum and instruction items B1 through B6?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Huerta. All right, any discussion on these items? Just scrolling to see if I had any questions on these items. I think we're good. All right, seeing no discussion, no questions, Ms. Flowers, would you please take the vote?
Mrs. Huerta,
Yes.
okay, Mr. Rock,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson,
Yes.
Vice President Rothstein.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, and finally, moving on to. Oh, wait a minute, let's see. I got ahead of myself here. Okay, so moving on to section C, special services items 1 through 11 and business office items 1 through 9. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
It's a tie. I'm going to go with Ms. Huerta. Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. That was Mr. Stevenson, right? Oh, Mr. Rock. Okay, so. Also on this last section, I wanted to thank the Rotary Club of West Orange for your donation of dictionaries to third grade classrooms district-wide. And thank you to the Redwood Elementary PTA for your donation to help make improvements at Redwood Elementary. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, Ms. Flowers, would you please take the vote?
Mrs. Huerta,
Yes.
Mr. Rock,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson,
Yes.
Vice President Rothstein.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, and we need a motion to approve the HIB report. Is that correct? Okay, so may I have a motion to approve the HIB report? Is that item?
Items D1 and 2.
Thank you, I'm lost here. So items D1 and 2, thank
So
you.
moved.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. And second,
I'll second.
thank you, Ms. Huerta. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, Ms. Flowers, please take the vote.
Mrs. Huerta,
Yes.
Mr. Rock,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson,
Yes.
Vice President Rothstein.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, I think, can we try the presentation before we
Take two?
go? Yeah, take 2 before we go to the final public comment round?
Absolutely.
Terrific.
So walk slow.
Thank you. So anyone watching online, please give us a moment while we reset the presentation.
That's why I'm changing out the cable. I shorted out with the power. Sure.
All right, awesome. Good evening, everyone. Our apologies. We actually had some power issues in the high school earlier this afternoon around 3:30. We lost power to the entire school. We had some internet connectivity issues. We were able to go off of our generators for a bit of time. And then power was restored and PSE&G and the town was all sorts of helpful in making that happen. That's why we're here this evening. It's my understanding that the presentation was up and available and ready to view at 6:30. But I don't think that we are fully restored in all areas, and perhaps there was an issue with some of the connectivity based on the outages today. So what I would like to do, Mr. Mendez, if it's possible, and if the board is okay, is I'd like to just push this to August 8th. While we could put it online for people to be able to review, there's nothing to hide, but I do think that Mr. Mendez talking through it publicly, having the ability to have that on YouTube for people to look at a future date means a lot more than just putting up many slides with so much work. You have an incredible team that worked alongside you to ensure that these mandates are put together in a meaningful manner. And I want them to have that time, right, to be able for you to speak to that. So at this point, we're going to move our presentation to our August 8th meeting. We will actually have two presentations that evening. One that was already scheduled. One of the board goals is an SEL update, kind of mid-year. What have we done as far as social emotional learning is concerned? Ms. Butler will be here for that with a brief presentation, and then Mr. Mendez, if you'd be kind enough to join us for the 8th, so we can just hold off on that. Our mandates are in place, and there's such good work on both SEL front and on this front that I think it is only worthy of your time at a board meeting. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I would like to encourage everyone to be sure to be here for that meeting on the 8th. Having read through the presentation, I mentioned to Mr. Mendez earlier before the meeting started tonight, how incredibly impressed I am with our district, with the work of Mr. Mendez and her team putting together the curriculum. It is so clear and accessible and informative, and it was actually, yeah, it was exciting. Sort of, I mentioned going down the rabbit hole of clicking links deeper and deeper in, and all of the detail that's available to support our teachers and make our community aware of what the curriculum is. So thank you for all the hard work to prepare for tonight. These things happen, and thank you for coming back on the 8th. All right, I think that brings us then to petitions and hearings of citizens on any issue on the agenda or not. And so if anybody would like to come to the podium and speak, you'll have 3 minutes. Mr. Mendez, you don't want to complain about what happened here tonight? No, okay. All right, I'm sorry. All right, seeing no comments. All right, seeing no comments then, this concludes our business. Thank you very much. Our next regular board meeting will be held at 7:30 p.m. on August 8th. This just in, it will include a presentation on the curriculum. The meeting will be held here in the West Orange High School Library Media Center. We will not be going into executive session after the close of this meeting, so there will be no further business discussed and no additional action will be taken. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Huerta. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Rock. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Our meeting is now adjourned. We wish you a good night and